Hello, welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be on Season 8 Fortnite, and today I'm going to be breaking down for you guys how to get your first Victory Royale in Season 8. So if you're like me and you collect the Victory umbrellas and you haven't got Season 8s yet, this is going to be the video for you. So let's get into this. So firstly, let's start at the very beginning, and let's say you're an average player. You're kind of aggressive, but you don't play too much Fortnite. You play every now and then, but you're about an average sort of builder, editor, gunfighter in general. Okay, so that's the sort of baseline we're going to go for in this video. So let's say the best mode for you guys to play is going to be, for example, squads, because squads, you can have a teammate or so to rely on you. You don't have to be the one who carries the squad every game. If you're not as a good player and you're not getting loads of kills, you can be someone who supports your team. You can be a useful asset. You could deliver meds, mats, and things like that to your team. You could be a sort of scavenger sort of role in your team. Even though you're not getting kills, you're still helping your team out a lot. Whereas in duos and solos, you have to be a lot more reliant on yourself than you do with any teammates, especially on obviously solos, and that is a lot more sweaty. So I definitely recommend squads if you're an average sort of player. So let's continue on into game then, guys. So let's say that you're, like I said, an average player and you're not too confident with gunfights. So every gunfight you get into could be your last, if that makes sense, because it doesn't matter how good you are at the game. Every gunfight you could die, because there could be third parties, there could be random RNG. You're never guaranteed to win a gunfight. So let's say the best way to get to that top 10 is by avoiding gunfights. So the best way to do that is land somewhere completely obscure that's got decent loot for your squad, but will almost guarantee not having another squad go there. So I'm talking about places like Junk Junction, Haunted Hills, Snobby Shores, Sunny Steps, anywhere like that that's really far on the outside the map that are not likely to have too many people there, and maybe like one of the squad that you can try and take out off spawn, but no one else really apart from that. So let's say you've taken out your first squad and you've got some loot. You want to then try and get the best possible loot that you can. You want to get all the mats that you can get. You want to get 1,000 mats on absolutely everything for your whole squad, as well as you want meds for days. You want to all be on 100 when you're just leaving your first location, and you want to try and have backup meds ready. You want to have, probably, depending on how confident the player you are, you can either have like an RPG or a sniper, or you can have extra meds like bandages and med kits. So if you're kind of a nervous player, then I definitely recommend the more meds. But if you're kind of confident in your ability to snipe and RPG people or bow people, then I definitely recommend taking that instead, because you might be someone who can just get more kills in the squad. But if not, then take more meds, have minis, big shields, med kits, things like that. Cozy campfires, launch pads, and rift-to-goes are all insanely useful for late game, because those will help you rotate through the moving circles if you get that far, that is. So there are three main ways to get really good loot off spawn, and a lot of them have to do with luck, but knowing that there are these ways can help you get them, if that makes sense, get the better loot. So first way is the loot llama, which is 100% luck. If you see it, that's great. If not, don't worry too much. They don't give you that much good things. It's mainly launch pads that you want from those, or rift-to-goes. So that's not too bad. But the big thing that you can get, however, is treasure maps, which are very common. And if your squad has looted a lot of chests, there's likely that one of you is going to get a treasure map. You don't want to leave that. You want to get that straight away, because that will guarantee gold items for your squad, and that can be really essential for the late game. The last thing that you can do is actually supply drops. So these are quite risky, but early game it's probably worth it, because supply drops start coming in, I think, after the first circle. So not many people are going to be looking on their maps at that sort of time, so taking supply drop isn't going to be that big of a risk. And if you have a squad covering your back or watching over you, then it won't be too bad. So let's say that you've got some good loot now, you've opened a few supply drops, and your squad's pretty kitted with a lot of mats. So let's say that you've played it passive, you maybe killed a squad off spawn, and you're now top 10. So you want to be trying to make those early rotations as soon as possible. You don't want to leave them until the last minute and push with the storm. You want to make sure that you're in the center of the new storm circle as fast as possible. This is when it's small, that is. I'm talking like top 10 sort of time, not top 25 or anything. when top 10, you want to try and make the early rotations, just so you can build a base before the next squad or so gets there, and you can start shooting them when they've got the storm on their back and they're panicking, trying to make up this like ramp to try and get to the high ground. You can shoot them down and do as much damage as possible in the early game, because that is what you want to try and do. But by early game, I mean the early fights that you get with this squad. So you want to shoot them as much as possible before you get into the close quarter shotgun fights, because although the 30 like 2 sort of damage with an AR might not seem much, but that will slow them down, that will do a lot of damage over time. And if your whole squad is just pinpointing, shooting these guys down, then they're not likely to be able enough time to heal or anything like that with the storm on their back. They're going to be panicking, rushing towards you, and this is when you can use an RPG or something like that if you have one. If not, then shooting down their ramps would be a great idea, or just trying to maintain that high ground basically. And once you've weakened them a bit and you're in decent range to them, this is when you can try and actually engage with a shotgun fight. You want to try and play sensible, because shotgun fights are heavily RNG in this game. So you want to try and aim for the head as much as possible, because that will guarantee you pretty much a one shot if you have a good shotgun. But if not possible, if you're not that good at aiming, then you want to try and do as much damage as possible for your other teammates to actually injure them and finish them off. So let's say now we're doing like a reverse roll. So let's say that you've just come out of a squad fight and you're kind of weak, and the storm's on your back, and you're pushing up to the squad that's on the hill, who's got the early rotation, who's got the fort on there. The few things you can do is trying to do the double ramp, where you have a ramp that you're walking on and a ramp above you, just to cover that headshot, stop them from like actually getting on those easy hits on you from above. The next thing you want to do is trying to get, if you're good enough that is, try and do 90s to get the high ground as quickly as possible, to pressure them to stop shooting and start building. Or if that's not possible, then try and get underneath them if you can, or shoot them down. They're the only real options you have. But a lot of people think they're quite good at this, if that makes sense, and they will, if they see you starting to ramp up, they'll automatically switch into a build fight mode, and they won't care about how exposed they are. They will just go for a build fight. They've seen people like Tfue do it enough times, and they think they know what they're doing, so they will automatically just start charging at you with ramps. And this is when you can actually shoot them down if possible, or you can engage in this close quarters fight, which will probably end up either with one of you dead or severely injured. So you want to try and, if you can, get the high ground on this person, and if you see them like lose sight of them for more than 30 seconds, then you've probably assumed that they've gone down to try and shoot you down. So you want to get out there as soon as possible, or try and finish the job if you can. So let's say that you've taken out about half their squad, but you're also kind of weak, then you want to probably build a one high uni base without metal or something like that, and just heal up in there as quickly as you can with campfires or minis or anything that you have. Then you can do a little strat, that is if you haven't actually got sight of the enemy, and this can be used anytime really, but it's quite useful late game, where you do a ramp and you'll have a flat above you and then a cone, and you want to edit through the flat and then just hold edit on the cone, and you can see all around you even though they can't see you at all. So that will help identify where they are, give you a bit of an idea where they are before you actually engage in your last fight to hopefully get that victory royale. So that's going to be for today's short video, guys. I hope some of the things that I've actually said in this video have actually come to fruition for you, and if not, hopefully you can understand where I'm coming from, and hopefully that you can take some of the advice I've given here. And this will not just be used for victory royales, this will help in every normal game really. It's not just for going for that late game, but I hope this actually helps you guys out. If it does, definitely leave a like and a comment saying so. But until this video, guys, peace.